1 minute late. Please rise for the pledge.
You're gonna take roll first? Or-
Oh, see, you got me off the road. Well, speak up.
First time you've ever done this.
Ms. Mulder? Present. Mr. Cole?
Present.
Ms. Palastrellini?
Present.
Mr. Robinson?
Present. See what happened, they get all clustered. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, is there anyone signed up to speak this evening?
No, we didn't have a sheet, so. Is
on the-
this the way to take care of that?
All right, problem solved.
Oh, I'm podium. No, we're good.
Okay. First on our agenda, you'll see the approval, for the meeting, special meeting minutes, December 15th, 2022. We reviewed them at this time. If there's no changes to the meeting minutes as presented for the special meeting, I will entertain a motion to approve the meetings as they are presented.
So moved.
Questions, comments, concerns? This question, you call the roll, please. See, I asked that time.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Right.
Ms. Mulder? Aye. Motion passed 4-2 absent.
Okay, so next you'll have the regular meeting minutes from December 15th, 2022. Please review them at this time.
Trustee Palastrellini, we do have your corrections, but if you could just mention it, send them to us.
Okay. Yeah, I had asked for each of the public hearings that we had for each of the SSAs. I asked for some kind of an informational line after each notation of, like, for example, on page 6, it's for SSA number 7, an increase of 67% from 7,000 whatever to something else. I wanted something as to why. You know, rather than just let that sit there, I thought it was important to be able to explain why. And it was the same thing with the SSA 10, SSA 11, and
So
so.
we made those notations, we just didn't redistribute them.
So with that, are there any other changes or comments about the meeting minutes? Yeah, then I will entertain a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from December 15th, 2022 with the changes that Ms. Trustee Palastrellini had provided.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Just can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini? Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Ms. Mulder? Aye. Motion passed 4-2.
And now for the first time in 2023, we turn it over for the village manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We would ask your attention to a concept presentation for the development of the light properties generally near the I-90 interchange at US 20. No action is required tonight. We have with us Ernie Perone, who is Dan Light's son-in-law, who's now handling the development side of the business. And also their broker, John Seworth, with CBRE. They're going to make a brief presentation tonight. Talking about 3 primary properties: Shire Land, 38 acres on Higgins Road, and then the 165 or so acres behind El Jalai. But please join at the podium if you would.
Good evening. I'm John Seworth with CBRE. I'm an industrial real estate broker. I've been doing industrial real estate now for about 33 years, and I heard some preliminary commentary about all the warehouses going up east. And the industrial real estate business is still very strong and it's still booming. And there's been increased demand and activity, especially along the I-90 corridor. I started marketing these properties about 1.5 years ago, and we've gotten really good activity and interest on them. But developers are looking for sites that are annexed and zoned. And these properties obviously are not annexed, they're not zoned. So we're here seeking the industrial zoning for these sites. The 2 larger sites, basically north of I-90, you've got the 112 acre former Shireland property, and then the larger 168 acre site. Those we're seeking an M3 zoning on. Again, we don't have any specific tenants or developers in tow per se. If you could flip, we have, as I mentioned to you, we have had multiple inquiries. We had one large user that Jay is aware of, called Project Yukon. That was looking for a site that could accommodate up to 1 million square feet with expansion beyond that. We actually, if you flip one more, we actually at one point, I'm sorry, I'm out of order here, one more. We actually did test fits for both of these sites in an effort to try and attract that deal. We didn't get that deal. My understanding is they have gone under contract on a site further out, I think somewhere in the Belvedere area. But in kind of going through the due diligence on these sites, they love the location, the proximity to 90, the access on and off right at Route 20. One of our challenges though was size constraints and also with the sites, just the topographical challenges. On the Shireland site, there's about a 75 or 80 foot elevation difference between kind of the northeast end and the southeast end and the northwest end. So back to the previous slide, we've done a couple of other just random site plans that show a variety of industrial buildings. Because again, it makes more sense probably to divide them up into different lots just because of the topography. But again, this is representative of, as you mentioned, some of the buildings you're seeing built in Huntley. You know, you have the Amazon buildings, you've got developers there now building on spec because there is still good tenant activity. This submarket is what we call the Northern Kane submarket. And as of the end of third quarter of last year, there's less than a 2% vacancy in that entire submarket. So we're at historical lows. There's still very good user appetite for these types of properties. We're hoping to get these sites annexed and zoned where a developer can come along and more or less put them into production.
There is heavy interest in the north parcel right now.
Yes. So again, this is just a sampling. We don't have anybody yet. We've had a lot of interest, a lot of inquiries, but this just kind of shows you some of the uses we're envisioning. I'm sorry, Jack, if you want to keep going to the smaller site. And here again are some pictures of some typical buildings. You know, what we call kind of a modern cross-dock distribution center. Some of these logistics or motor freight facilities. That's really the type of use we envision going there.
So you were talking about 5 million. I think what's laid out is about 4 million worth of buildings.
It's
very good for us.
Yeah. The other site is this 38-acre site. This site also has some topographical issues as long as access issues as well. We're seeking a lighter M2 zoning there. We don't see users with heavy truck traffic being able to utilize that facility just based on the access off of 20 and Higgins Road. We see lighter, more service type uses going there. We have had inquiries from a couple of, call them truck type dealerships, looking because of the highway exposure and the access with the interchange. That's really what we envisioned for that site. So we're seeking an M2 zoning for that site. We've got a couple test fits there as well. So here you'll see, again, elevation wise, I think you've got about a 40 or 50 foot elevation change from one end to the others. Obviously, the topography goes down. So we've designed this, and again, this is subject to change, but putting a stormwater management area on that end to act as an additional buffer. We've got a couple of truck type sales service buildings, and we've got a couple of what I call small incubator industrial type buildings where you divide the units up into 10, 15,000 square foot units.
Some of the interest has been with the single user
Yeah.
too for that. And half of that property is already annexed in Hampshire. It's the west half, but the zoning's changing on the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I thought we maybe have one more slide. It's very similar, but again, similar in concept where we're looking to divide it up into potentially smaller sites.
So there's no action required tonight. It's just a concept presentation. So if you have any questions, comments,
Are they set to go before planning and zoning?
that's the next step.
Do we have any concerns with M2 and the residential that's behind?
And we've talked about that quite a bit. They have a good buffer there, and they're not putting any particular traffic there, nothing heavy, that would be M3, and we discourage anything that would have a lot of truck traffic. Just because getting out of, up at Higgins Road on a 20 is not very good intersection.
There's also, let me, if I could interject with that, with the buffer. This lot, I can't jump high enough, but that little angle piece is one lot. So if needed, that buffer could extend, to be between the lot that's up there and the back of the parking lot.
The village gets a lot of, I don't want to say flack, or you get a lot of concern from people that don't, the homes in that area are part of the village, okay? They're part of the township. So we get several complaints from noise from the tollway, even though that's not us, it's a tollway. And then we get complaints about the lighting and the signage from the truck stop that's across 90 and that kind of thing. Again, I understand it to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, I mean, they did move next to a truck stop. A lot of the people in that subdivision knew the truck stop was there when they bought their homes and that kind of thing. So that's one of the reasons why I asked. I think it's great that you want to move forward with this property. I know that in my time on the village board and several others, I mean, I know that we approached you with different projects or trying to get you guys to do something with the property, but it never really would work. So this is a great step in the right direction. So, but I do have concerns about the M2, with just noise and that kind of thing. So
I think we were calling it M2 with some restrictions. We kind of know what you're looking for there. We want to just offer it to open M2 usage.
Okay, there's actually one prospect right now that would be for a sales type of operation that would fit pretty nicely there.
And in that type of thing, that's fine. I completely understand that. I'm just not looking to put up some kind of warehouse or some kind of manufacturing facility that's going to create a lot of ancillary noise and that kind of thing. Ultimately, they get noise from, and they know where they live. I'm just kind of, at some point, my guess is those homes will be within the village, right?
Well, that's up to those people.
No, I understand that, but it's something, maybe not within my
I
lifetime,
would
but.
expect that to happen, yeah, and I would expect it to happen in your lifetime probably. But if you're thinking something else like residential, this is the time to say it before these guys go any further. We had preliminary conversations about this being M2 before.
Residential will fill in other areas.
Yeah.
Let's keep this going.
I'm good with the understanding that the homes are there and we need to find a use that fits for that area.
Yeah, they're very conscious of that.
That's what I'm into.
But on the flip side, you did move next to the tollway.
Right.
You moved next to the tollway exit.
Right.
That's where businesses go.
Right.
The other thing is with that storm, it's almost a decorative pond. It could be, with a walking path.
Put some fake
around.
boy in it, we'll call it a day.
No, I have no doubt that you guys are gonna do the right thing. I just, residents and the community members do watch these videos, and what's gonna happen is when the planning and zoning commission meets, they're gonna talk about it, and then the videos are gonna come out, and then what's gonna happen is it's gonna be the village doesn't have any concern about the houses being there, and, no offense to you, but it's always the developer doesn't care, and this and that and the other thing, and so we try to have these conversations in open forums so to mitigate some of that stuff when it comes up. So it's good to hear that you're very understanding about your neighbors. Let's put it that way.
I have a question for you. In that stormwater management area, is there a plan to remove all the trees that would actually use all the water in order to create some other? Because there's a huge amount of tree, and those are very mature trees in the far north.
So it looks like,
That way.
if I'm looking here, this looks empty. It looks like you
Yeah.
have trees up there.
That's what I'm talking about. Is there, again,
Again, this
I'm
is
not a
just a,
developer, so I'm just asking.
yeah,
We haven't done the calcs yet. Those
Okay.
storm detention areas may be bigger than what's needed out there.
Yeah.
right now, Until we get the engineering calcs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
Storm,
understand that.
that storm may cut short, and if we, this could expand on that.
Yeah, and I
Right.
know you haven't done any of
I'm hearing you
those.
say though that you would prefer to see those trees stay. So I
Exactly.
think that's a comment
Those
you
took
guys
hundreds
might
of
want to
years.
here.
It needs a lot of
Our,
water.
our ordinance, as you know, does provide for tree replacement, but if you prefer
Well-
mature trees.
If those homes are not gonna be in the village in our lifetime, those trees are not gonna, that we're replacing with, are not gonna be mature within our lifetime either, so.
Yeah.
Whatever we can do to retain those, because they are also great noise buffers. So if one of our biggest complaints is noise and light, then doing what we can after you get the, sorry, my brain just stopped. All the preliminary calculations, once you've had a chance to do all that. If you could just keep that in mind. I think that would do a lot to create a buffer, not only physically for the residents, but also to give them.
I would also like to see, it's not just one or two residences there, it's a whole community up there. I'd love to see cooperative efforts when and if you move into that to accommodate maybe some of their concerns as well, because you will be neighbors over there, and the smoother we can do it, the better.
That's part of our process too, right? There's a public hearing that will have to be posted for them to annex and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, I mean, that, for them to annex and develop the property, there's gonna, for the zoning and that, there's gonna have to be a public hearing. So there, even if you're not a resident, like when we were going through the stuff with the new school and stuff, there were a lot of residents from the outside of the village that did participate
Okay,
in that. So, and they have to send notification in the village or not, to anybody within a certain amount of feet, a radius around their property, so they will, the ones that are most impacted.
That's been done.
that's been done already? Because I do like the idea of the retention area over there, adding, bike path or something that they could walk their dogs around, or something that kind of incorporates you into their community as well. So just something to consider.
It was a lovely thing that you had mentioned earlier. And I think trustee Palestrini is saying, yes, that is a good idea.
Yeah, I did.
Well, thank you again. I mean, I don't want to cut you short, but I really appreciate you coming tonight. I really appreciate you guys really being willing to annex in and wanting to do something with us. It's really a big step for us, because I know that we've had a lot of projects over the years that could have, maybe benefited from the property being zoned and annexed. And that's a trend that we're seeing. Just for the board's information, is there's a lot, I mean, it's a big trend right now where these developers are coming in and they don't want to do all the legwork. They want to come in and be able to build a building, or rent a building that's already been built in some cases. And, and if your community's not ready, they'll just move on to the next one.
Yeah, they're like my adult children. They don't want to wait the whole time.
Instant gratification.
I really appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us, as long as you're here? I know that you've been working close with Jay, but you have.
I don't think so. That, the mailings were sent out already for notifications. The postings on the property were put up earlier this week. So I think,
They have a very good reputation for development, so I think they'll handle the residents.
all right, thank you.
With that, Mr. Mayor, we would ask for a motion to approve the release of impact fees to the Hampshire Township Cemetery in the amount of $24,556.13. I believe there's a representative from the board here tonight. Steve Herman, do you have any questions for him? I'm not sure that's why he's here.
That's why, pretty much why I came to see that.
Okay.
And as you all know, that's because they requested the funds. That's when we released the funds.
And just so you know what we're doing with that Orange Cemetery on Kelly Road, which is a very historic cemetery, we're concerned because of the new subdivision and Thames building right up to it. We want to protect it. So we've cleaned out a lot of it was very old brush and didn't look good. So we beautified it, if you will. Now we're gonna put a nice iron fence around it with a gate to get in and out. So that's the plan, just to kind of keep people in and out. It's very historic,
Yeah.
Years ago, somebody tipped all those kids that tipped over those stones. So they built a monument in the center of it with all the stones in the center because they don't know where the graves are. But if you've never been up there, it's really, really something.
I was going to ask you what the project was.
That's
Thank
what
you.
it is.
Yeah.
I will entertain a motion to approve the release of impact fees to the Hampshire Township Cemetery.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Ms. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Fodor,
Aye.
Mr. Coe,
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini,
Aye.
Mr. Robinson. Motion passed 4-2 absent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With that, we would ask for a motion to authorize the village manager to execute a professional services agreement with EEI for the state mandated source water protection plan in the amount of $22,944.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yep. This is a state mandated project, and Mr. Paulson is online with us if you have any questions specifically about it. And that this must be completed by July. This will take about 6 months to conduct the study.
I think that this is pretty, boilerplate, if you will. State's making us do it, we gotta do it, so. Board have any questions? I will entertain a motion to authorize village manager to execute a professional services agreement with EEI in the amount of $22,944.
So
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Ms. Clerk? I'm sorry. Hey, didn't mean that.
Mr. Cole,
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini,
Aye.
Mr. Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Fodor,
Aye.
motion passed 4 to absent.
Thank you. With that, we would ask for a motion to approve payment 7 in the amount of $63,722.33 to Kane County Excavating for work completed on the connection water main project, bringing total payments to $847,257.25 of a total of $966,642 and 22 cents. 52 cents, the project total. So there will be one final payment on this before the 10% retainage.
Any questions or comments about this?
And if you haven't been up there lately, the building's gone and it looks pretty much like it's all that gravel that one of you commented about in an email recently is in the well and it's pretty well done.
Oh, that was trustee Kelly.
Oh, that's right.
So we'll make sure we send a note about it. Anybody have any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve payment number 7.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Ms. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Ms. Palastrellini,
Aye.
Mr. Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Fodor,
Aye.
Mr. Cole,
Aye.
motion passed 4 to absent.
Hold on to your hats. Now we have staff monthly reports. Water loss reports first.
Would you like us to discuss it or you can ask questions?
Well, how about this? How about we do here, there's the water loss report, financial report, building report, street report. Why don't you guys review them at this time, and if there's any questions, just cite the report that you have a question about and ask the question.
I'd like to comment on the water loss one. And I know we've come down a lot from where we were, but the tick up, is that due to streetscape when we had all the water problems underneath?
I don't think we can pinpoint it quite that exactly.
Okay,
We had one problem one day is where we drained a lot of water out of one of our tanks, but I don't think that would make a blip that big.
okay. So we really have no idea why it blipped up.
No, I mean, you can see there's quite a bit of variation over time, so this is not really a month-to-month report as much as it is over time.
Okay.
Because so much it has to do with water usage as well as the leaks that we have throughout the system.
I mean, I love the
We have
fact
made great progress.
it's like 24%, within this year, and down to 13 and then 18. So it's still a downward trend,
There
but.
was a time when 20% was our goal. Now our goal is 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was, if you look at 18 and even, I mean, we don't have data, not on this report, but it was significantly higher years ago. Any other questions about any of the other reports? The financial report looks great. Thank you, Ms. Lyons.
Sure thing.
Street report looked great.
On page 55, the pension trust fund, do we have more participants in there, more that we're collecting more because it's a pretty big jump right now?
So the big jump in that was the fact that the village's $504,000 contribution was made in the month of November.
Okay, that's fine. So, okay.
Okay. Any other questions, or can we move on to the accounts payable? Hearing none, I will move on to the accounts payable. Before you, you have the accounts payable to personnel in the amount of $256.99. Do we have any questions about that? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable to personnel in the amount of $256.99.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Ms. Clerk.
Mr. Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini,
Aye.
Mr. Cole,
Aye.
Ms. Fodor,
Aye.
motion passed 4 to absent.
Next, we have the big one, $230,311.27 to be paid on or before January 5th, 2023. Do we have any questions?
Page 72, page 3 of that report for the COPS testing service or promotion exam. How many people took that exam at that?
7.
7, okay.
So five sergeant candidates and 2 lieutenant candidates.
Thank you. I was hoping the answer was not 1. Not great.
Good turn.
That's awesome.
It's an expensive test.
Just, if I could, then on page 80, the repair of the furnace, that of course scares me. Has it been repaired sufficiently now?
Hang on just one quick second.
Okay. Page 80, premise star north.
Yeah, so there were several buildings that required specialized HVAC units because of the air exchange. These are at the wastewater treatment plant. So yes, at this time, I think there were 3 different buildings that had issues, all included in that $11,000 that have been resolved.
Okay, it's not like the furnace here. when-
It's no,
We had-
no, we just have a regular, well, we have 2 furnaces here, actually. We have a boiler unit in the back area and a normal gas furnace in the front, and they're very standard. It will not be $11,000.
Okay.
Fix that at one of those.
And the last really quick question is page 81, repair of the water line. Just curious as to what water line, starting some trenching. It's not a big deal, but
I believe that was a water main break. I'd have to look at the actual detailed.
it was within the streets, then something.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Okay. I know we had a lot of cold, so that's why I was curious if it was really.
We haven't really, so usually when it freezes, there isn't any problems. It's when it thaws is when we have the problems. Or, when the ground starts to heave and you see like the signs posted on the roads and stuff is when we usually have a lot of water main breaks, and we have not had any of that, so. Yeah, got some fake wood.
Yeah. Okay.
Not yet.
Yes, not yet.
Any other questions?
No.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the regular accounts payable in the amount of $230,311.27.
So
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Paulson,
Hi.
Ms. Fodor,
hi.
Mr. Coe,
Aye.
Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Motion passed 4 to absent.
Village Board Committee reports. The Business Development Commission is not here.
I could just mention briefly that they plan to meet this Wednesday, unless there's a field trip, and there may be a field trip.
Okay. Public Relations,
No report at this time?
Public Works.
No report at this
Did a
time.
great job with all the snow and the cold and all that stuff. It was fantastic. But, uh-oh.
We have lunch.
You good? We have to cut you off. or you all right?
And that's all. I don't know, we're between these.
We have launched our budget calendar for fiscal year 23-24. The slides, are this stack supposed to be for everybody on the board?
Yes, yep, they can be distributed.
That is the revised calendar. The staff will be working on, and department heads will be working on their end. The budget committee has set a date for February 21st for staff presentations of the draft budget to us. Everybody else is welcome as well. And then March 7th will be the second meeting with the budget for the budget committee. So we've got the dates well in advance, and our members have all been apprised and gave us their availability. So we're moving forward with that. I do ask then if there's anything particular that for any of your areas and committees that you would like to have considered or brought forth, please do that. We've got plenty of time to kind of start working with that and introduce those possibilities to the department heads to see where we can fit it in.
One way or the other. we had to-
Okay,
Thank you.
any questions for trustee Palastrellini? Under new business, you'll see trustee Kelly had asked in his absence that we table this discussion until he could be present for it, as it's a project that they were working on in the BDC. And he wanted to so I would entertain a motion to table the discussion of the business density and geographic areas. So move. Roll call vote, not roll call vote, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Awesome, thank you. Any other announcements? I can see Mr. Hedges looking at his watch, so.
I actually just got a message from my secret Santa, Mr. Small.
Oh, I was thinking that maybe you guys had a bet that we get out of here.
No, it wasn't that at all. I promise you that. I'd be bragging on that one.
Do we have any announcements or?
Just one question. Please, there's no report for you guys in here. Who handled most of the truck stop saga? Was that us or county?
So the truck stop saga, I would say.
You know, did we tase the guy? Did we arrest him? Did we take him to jail?
We tased the guy and arrested him, they took him to jail. So it was their stop, their primary investigation.
Okay.
But our
But
backup,
we did a great job.
our backup happened to be real close by.
Yeah. They were paying when the call came.
Thank you for keeping us posted on that. I really appreciate that.
Welcome.
You guys do great work.
Yep.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:32 PM.
Second.
Come on, James.
Roll call vote.
I was gonna let it go another minute.
Ms. Fodor,
Aye.
Mr. Coe, Ms. Paulson,
Hi.
Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Motion passed 4-2 absent.
Thank you all very much. Is that better than the